to do is we're going to talk tonight about making you make some money. You don't know what you don't know, and we're going to change your whole attitude. Matter of fact, we're going to call this something a little bit different. Has anybody ever watched Cesar Millan, the Dog Whisperer? Have you ever seen that show? It's amazing, right? Well, I'm telling you, he is not training those dogs. He's training the people how to act around the dogs, how to control their emotions, how to do all these things. He's training the people. So what we're going to do tonight is, unfortunately, we aren't going to train your tenants, but we're going to teach you how to expect and train your tenants, the bad ones. So we will have a Q&A session. Everybody should have index card on the seats.
Raise your hand if.
So if you need a pen, or if you need one of those, Alice will get those to you. If at all possible, we're going to try and take a lot of the questions towards the end, because I think we're going to answer a lot of your questions. But then after that, you're going to throw your problems at me, and we're going to tell you how to answer them and how to get the solution that you want. Okay? So we'll take your toughest ones. If we take them all during the thing, we won't get to any of the stuff, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Fair enough? We do that? All right, let's get through the whole group then. So, this is contract clauses and addendums, but it's really, you don't know what you don't know, and you're all going to have fun watching me because they are letting me be in charge of the electronics the same time I'm in charge with talking with you guys. So we're going to see how that goes. All right? Laughing is allowed, so that's no problem there. All right, we have a lot of handouts, so if I miss anything, we'll get them all out to you at the very end of it. And you're saying I just have to push the button. Whoa, how about that? So, again, we already talked about the training is going to be more about training you than the rest of them. So, but tonight's all about questions of how to become a professional housing provider and bring your business back into you instead of, is your tenant running your business or are you? All right? And there's always one, right? Unfortunately, sometimes there's more than one. But there's always that one tenant that drives you crazy. So, but the good news is I have nothing to sell, so we have plenty of time to get to all your stuff. So, almost every call I get, and I got 20 calls just from the last month that we're going to go through, okay? So, almost always my first answer to any housing provider that calls is, what does your lease say? And they go, I don't know what it says. I said, you gotta go back, read your lease about that part that your problem is, call me back, and we'll work it from there. Hopefully, your solution is in your lease, you're just not paying attention to it. You're getting other people to sign it, you pack them away, you do your filing, you do everything, but read your lease. And then again, if somebody really does you over, all right, they did. If it ever happens again, it's your fault because you did not add it to your lease. The lease will actually make it perfect, but you will have the grounds to move on it, okay? It's gonna help you remember what you're supposed to do, but it's gonna give you the background to pass it on and get it done. So, one of the frequently asked questions also, besides, go back and check your lease, is how many of these rules are legal? I know about halfway through you're going to say, are these legal? Does it matter if they're legal? This is an agreement between, wait a minute, all attorneys, sorry Mr. Curry, you gotta leave. It doesn't matter if it's legal, it's an agreement between you and them. Now obviously, we're not advocating that you go put illegal stuff in there. But this is an agreement between you and them, and it's what they believe. What it is they think they have to follow. What you can cut and paste and text to them every time they do something wrong, okay? Every time, so you don't get that confrontation, you don't get the heads up thing, you can just cut and paste and send it to them as a heads up. We know what's going on, it's time to fix it. So again, it only matters that both of you signed it, both of you agreed on it, so those are the house rules. And really, what percentage of your tenants end badly? Usually until they lose their job or run out of money. Right. But in general, out of all that, how many of them even go to court? I've been in court 10 times in the last 2 months.
Right.
Not for my properties, but because I'm helping other people. But in general, anybody that's been to court in the last 60 days, raise your hand. You have a lot of properties too.
Okay.
Okay, so in general, any more than the 10 that I did? There's probably maybe 1. So the whole point of that is, even though it's in court, what are you going to court for? 3-day notice, you're going for non-payment of rent, not anything else in the lease. They're not gonna bring up anything else in the lease, because that's probably not why you're evicting them to start with, okay? So I'm just saying, your lease sets the parameters of how they're gonna live in your house and how they're gonna treat your house. So here's how it starts. That looks pretty plain, right? It's really important that you say this out loud when you're going over the lease with them. When you say, this is my standard real estate rental agreement, what does that word standard do? Make them feel a little more confident, a little less worried, a little less misunderstanding of what all's in this. You know, if you're just giving them, saying, this is just, nothing here to bite you. You know, this is an agreement so that you can, I'm gonna give you thousands of dollars worth of house and you're gonna live there and take care of it. So again, believe it or not, you are setting the mindset right from the beginning. So just saying out loud, they don't even read that. They don't even think that. They've already jumped off the title if they looked at it at all. So again, it's all about the mindset. So believe it sounds really small, but it's important. So say it out loud. Don't expect your tenant to interpret this in any particular way. You're gonna tell them. You're gonna just say it. So I think we got to the next. Okay, guys. That didn't take long, did it? I'll have somebody stand up here and push the computer. So let's go to the next one. So it takes a lot of the nervousness out of it for the tenant. A lot of nervous about signing because you're just doing a standard lease. It is your standard lease, correct? Your lease is you're using that same lease for everybody that's in that same house. You can change it house to house, but you need to be consistent in that particular unit. Did I look at it crooked? Okay, so what if they don't want to renew? I don't know why that was a problem, but that was the problem that came up. I'm not sure about another, maybe they're not sure about going another year. So there's pros and cons to both of that. They go, on my lease, they go month to month. Hey, how about that? That worked that time. Okay, so on mine, they go month to month. But I think you need to realize that when they're month to month, who's got the power? Who's got the power to change the rent every time the taxes go up? Who's got the power every time you gotta dig up the front yard and put all new plumbing in? What about if they flooded the house because they used those flushables? Okay? So who's in charge? You are, because you don't need a reason to move those people out. It's a 30-day notice, period. And they've got nothing to say about it. There's no cause, there's no court. You might go to court if they don't move out, but again, they've got not a leg to stand on because they can leave every 30 days, just like you cannot renew every 30 days. Fair? Fair for all of them, okay? So let's go on to, I think you better come tell me what I'm doing wrong.
There you go.
Well, then bring a chair. Yes, it did. So let's talk a little bit about possession. Actually, to back up a little bit, to me, the real dilemma on this is not, has anybody had this problem? This was kind of a new one to me. Sometimes it takes a while, they're fiddling around, they're not coming up with the money, and all of a sudden they refuse to occupy. And time's going by. That month is getting eaten up day by day, week by week. So the real dilemma to me is when somebody stays and doesn't pay. I can deal with all the rest of these because I still have then got back the possession of the house quite easily, and I can re-rent it, I can re-advertise it. So who's responsible, I think is what they're asking, for that time, that month that you've lost, because you're never gonna get anybody into the first of the month, because that's long gone. You'd be lucky to get somebody in there for half a month, so who's responsible? So, next.
Technology just fixed.
I have to get somebody to join me up here. So, it's not about whether they live in the house. It's not whether or not they're there 10 days or no days. Does your lease mandate that they have to be in that house? No, it doesn't. So it's all about possession, which is a legal term, okay? So who are you gonna charge that rent from? That person is still had that house locked up and not given possession back to you by taking up the time. So yes, you can. I'm not saying you can get it collected, but I'm saying yes, you can charge them for that rent if there's no reason. Whether they're actually living in it or not makes no difference. I don't think anybody's lease mandates that they have to have their body in that house one day or any days, okay? So that's not the criteria. The criteria is whether or not you've been able to re-rent it. And they have at that point stopped you from re-renting it. Not even giving me the clicker back, that could be bad. You're telling me. So we're gonna talk about late rent increases. So we have a rental letter here somewhere. Let's see if we can start it. Would you like to pass them out again? Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna hand out a letter about rental increases. My lease has an automatic rental increase in it. It says 10%. Kind of big, right? So what am I hitting here? Oh, how about that? I figured I'll just push the button. You just had to show me what button to push. Okay, so it's a very simple letter, all right? And it mentions the 10%, and it says, hey, what? Things weren't as bad as we thought they were gonna be this year, and so we're only gonna do maybe a 5 or 7. It depends on what the, obviously if it's $7.50, they're in $75, okay? But maybe you're only gonna charge them 40 or 50. Who's happy then? Who's not upset that you just raised the rent? Because you didn't raise it to 10%. Instead, you're giving them everything that you can by only raising it a certain amount. So if they have a hardship or something, it says that they can do a review rent form on that. Just let you know. Okay. So I think I better follow on the sheets then, huh? It works and it stops, though. I think that's the workforce of everything right now. All right. So we're on rent increase. All right. So again, another thing that I have in my lease is, let's say I'm advertising something for $700 a month. Okay. Well, when they see their lease is going to say $750 a month. Why is that okay? That's because it says right underneath it, you get a $50 discount every time you pay rent on time or early. You think somebody might question that? Go ahead, ask me. Ask me why it was advertised. Why did you advertise that for $700? Ask me, Scott.
Why did you advertise that for $700?
Well, because we assumed you were gonna pay on time or early. You were gonna do that, weren't you? Then they understand, okay? So this is a bonus. This is something good. Now, a lot of people like to do late fees. I like to do the bonus for paying early and on time. You still, half the people like the stick, half the people like the cotton candy. So, it's every which way you go. But let me tell you some of the bonuses of this. If I'm doing it this way, and this lease goes to court, and they throw out late fees, what am I gonna get paid a month? $750. Cause the lease is $750. That's all the court's gonna see. That's all they're interested in. So again, at least I'm trying to recoup, because obviously I'm in court, I've lost a lot more than 1 month, because I tried to work with them, of course, so. Again, just the letter for when you do raise it at the end of the, and that's just at the end of the year, all right? All right. How rent is applied. People wonder why. I dare use this. Okay, so again, I do charge a late fee. It's already $50 higher the day they don't pay. But since I use Rent Perfect, and you guys too can at no charge, they get a notice. They get a notice before it's due, they get a notice the day it's due, they get a notice the day after the due, and it's 50 plus 5 higher. The day after that is $5 more. The day after that, I'm not calling them, I'm not harassing them, they're just getting a notice as to what the rent is and when it's due. Do you think once they call you and come and say, I just can't pay it, Aunt Susie's gonna pay me next Friday or something, you think they ever think about that again? Not till the next month. They're thinking about how to keep their cable on, how to keep their TV going, how to keep their telephone on. If they're not paying their rent, there's a lot of things they're not paying. I quite often hear the excuse, well, I had to pay my water, I had to pay my gas, I had to pay my electric. What's your answer back for that? Anybody got an answer back?
What's my problem?
Just a little antagonistic, right? It's kind of like in your face, not my problem. How about if you say, why would you pay something like that on a house you're not gonna live in? Does that give them the idea that where's your priorities? Why are you paying a gas bill and you aren't even gonna be there? You know, so they don't have priorities. You have to give them the priorities. So little things like that, these are the things you need to write down. So this is what you're gonna keep out of going face to face. This is what's gonna keep you a business and not on an equal level with somebody arguing with you. You should never argue. Your answer to almost anything is, I'll check with the office. I don't care if you know you're gonna do it. How much happy are they if you say, I'll check with the office, you call back, and you give them an okay? Whereas if you told them, okay, right then and there, they probably do that and 10 times more. You know, because it's just you. You know, it's person to person. So again, you have to be that business. All right, so where are we at next? We're over here next. There we go. All right. So again, that tells you about how many pick up rent. Every now and then you pick up rent. Well, I got taught something by a great grandkid, okay? I eventually ended up having Cash App. Because even my good tenants, all of a sudden, the banks were closed, I'm out of town, I'm this, I'm that. But your younger generation have no bank accounts. They had nothing. They don't have a brick and stone building. So they taught me Cash App, which I can move out of there within 2 days, no fees, no charges. It's hidden, it's in my account, it's gone, it's done. So I do like that for emergency. I don't have to mess with it, I don't have to do anything. It goes over into my account at no extra charges. So, but to pick up, it does say in there that if I pick it up, it's $30. If I'm coming to Toledo to pick it up, it's gonna cost me gas, it's gonna be taken off work, taken off time. Are you gonna be there when I get there? You know, all that stuff. So again, if there's a charge, and this is something you need to know, if there's a charge, they will find another way. Hopefully ways that you have suggested. And again, this is what we do if the check doesn't get through. I don't have so many checks anymore, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, once in a while there's a bounce check, but it's not always their fault. Sometimes it's the bank's fault. But at that point, they know they go to cashier's check, certified check, money order, Cash App, Rent Perfect. You know, Rent Perfect too, also, it hides your account and collects the money like a Cash App. So anybody that's already applied through this, through Rent Perfect, can actually go back and set up to automatically pay their rent on time every month. How about that? Good to know. Those that are set up like that are my favorites. Okay, let's go about early release. You want somebody to leave or they want to leave. Is there any point in keeping somebody that doesn't want to be there? Are they gonna pay you? Are they gonna get so embedded in that place that you're gonna end up in court just to get them back out? So if somebody's talking up front early, you know, this isn't working, maybe I need to go. We work with military. So the very second page, the top of the whole thing, is all about early release. Nothing about working a computer. Okay, so we actually have an early release, and it sums up at just this easy. Give us 60-day notice. Is that fair enough? They tell us, we want you to be there 60 days. We want you to have the sign out front. We want you to be able to show the property whenever we need to come show the property, and we get somebody to take over your lease. That doesn't release them from the lease unless we find somebody. So what do they need to be here? They need to be cooperative. They need to have a decent house. They need to allow showings. And it's a win-win situation for both. Other than that, they're gonna find their own path, and it's not gonna have you included at all. So think about that, okay? And this also explains how the money goes. Just had a call today, well, landlord, well, they're gonna pay this month's rent, but not last month's rent, and not the water bill, and not this. They want it to go towards this month's rent, and they're gonna write it on there. Is that how it works with any of your bills? Do they know that? They choose to not know that. So this makes it very clear. It automatically goes on the late stuff. Because why is that important? Why that is important, I don't think they even realize it, but why that is important is because now you have the ability to still do a 3-day notice at any time. We don't call it a 3-day notice though. Okay, so Aunt Susie, she was gonna pay on Thursday and they were gonna pay you. So how is that gonna work? What are you gonna say when they say that? It's only 3-4 days away, you're gonna give it to them, right? All right, we'll check back with it. No. You go like, slime. I understand Aunt Susie's gonna pay you on Thursday. So we're gonna give you this extension. You guys know it as a 3-day notice. Don't ever use that term again. That's an in-house term. This is an extension, which would probably be Thursday or Friday. Now, do they still remember all of a sudden that they gotta pay when they've got a court-looking document in their hand? Or are they gonna be paying everything else if Susie really does pay them, if Aunt Susie does come in town? So again, you can be friendly, you can be empathetic, and you can say, okay, but here's your extension. Now, when I put out 3-day notice, there's only 2 or 3 that call back. I say, well, you asked for an extension, right? Okay. And if they only pay partial, what can you do? Come on, somebody knows.
Charge interest.
You can give them another 3-day notice. You are not locked down to the following month or week or whatever. Do not get another month behind. You know, you're not only hurting yourself, you are digging them in a hole they cannot get out of. If they can't pay 1, how the heck are they gonna pay 2 months? Or even more. For one, if they really had the 2 months, that's their security deposit and a month's rent to move someplace else. Not that they're always smart enough to move to something cheaper to keep them happy, but I'm just saying, so you got that risk, but you also got the risk that the 3rd month and the 4th month, and they're gonna ruin their credit. You are gonna ruin their credit because you did not help them. So you need to say, I mean, right up front, I said, you sure you don't need a less expensive place? You sure you don't need to move something smaller temporarily to get yourself in order? You need to give them this help. You need to give them these suggestions. Okay, so, oops, I don't know why I keep trying that. I'm very positive. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the early release. And that's what we talked about, the 6-day notice, or 60-day notice. Again, you have the hopeful ability to get rent as opposed to not working with them, and they quit paying rent because they're gonna move someplace else and use that rent. All right. How many have heard this one? It was a mess when I moved in. That's invariably what you hear in court, or what you hear when they can no longer pay the rent. You know, that was broke, I broke that, you need to come fix it, but that was broken when I moved in. So that's kind of a crazy thing there. So what I wanted to talk about on that is, we have an as-is clause. Let's see where we go with that one. Okay, all right, Mike, how do you go backwards?
Left arrow.
What?
Left arrow.
There's a left arrow? Hey, we got a tech guy right up. Why don't you move your chair right up here and push the buttons here for me?
Do it, Scott, do it.
The tired of seeing me mess it up, right? So again, as is, they are actually, if you read through that, they have 7 days to get back with you with any problem. That's the key in that whole paragraph, which is what landlord-tenant law, which is what Section 8, which what everybody says, we want a move-in, move-out sheet. They have to give it to you by that time. And true, if something's broken and they didn't break it, they tell you within 7 days, you go snap a picture of it, put it in the file, they're good to go, okay? So I think that's important. What about late rent? Who wants to take late rent? Raise your hands. Who takes late rent? Who doesn't take late rent? In this economy, guys, everybody should have their hand up. Take late, unless you have some other problem with that tenant, that you're just using the non-payment of rent to move things along, take the money. Because what did we just decide you could do a few minutes later if it wasn't the full rent? The next day, the next 2 days, the next weekend, you can give another 3-day notice. I've done that. We just went to court last Friday. He got the notice Tuesday that he had to be in court. He cash-apped me, so they couldn't stop it. Money, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, twice Friday. We show up in court, it all adds up to $1,000. Now, if we can't come to an agreement or a payment plan, what do I have to do? I have to give him that $1,000 back. I got no problem with that. If he's gonna be out, I'm putting somebody else in. But then again, if he put $1,000 towards the problem, and I think he did a payment program of $100 a week on top of whatever the rent is. So he'd be making up the money at $400 a month. But guess what? That is written on court paper. That is turned into the court and filed. Do I have a lot of momentum, a lot of push behind me to make sure he makes his payments other than just me saying something? Sure do. Now it's a court thing and he can be gone. Okay, so the as is, I think you just need to know it's in there. Because I think you guys I'm sure it's probably in your leases, but you need to be the one to know. When they say that, this is your answer. That's why when somebody said that, it was there when I moved in, go back and look at your lease. Did you receive anything 7 days after they signed the lease? Probably not, okay? So, I love this one. Can I paint? I'm a professional. I paint all the time. No. Now maybe it's because I have 80 houses, but maybe it's because I go in and do all my own painting. I go in at midnight, have it painted by morning. But I have lost more carpets, very expensive. More flooring, even more expensive. All the woodwork, now the woodwork's gotta be painted. Their idea of painting it's fun. It's a project for the day. And then there goes the paint can slipping over. And worse than that, do you really want them on a ladder stretching all over the place? On your liability, in your house? So here's what we offer. We offer, I don't think it's in the lease, but if they ask about paint at any time during the lease, we will come in and paint for free once a year. But we can't touch your stuff. All your stuff has to be in the middle of the floor, and you can put a sheet or a tarp over it. We will come in and paint that house. You know how many times in 48 years, in 80 houses, I've been asked to do that? Once. Section 8, graffiti up to 6 feet on the walls. Section 8 wanted it out of there, because there's no way those little toddlers did it. You know, I'm just saying. So again, promising to do it and having to do it are two different things. Kind of like you get a free dump with a dumpster every month for every house. Do we use it? No, but it's there when we need it. Okay, so that's my personal opinion. If you guys hate painting and you want somebody to do it, maybe not your tenant. Okay, so where are we at? We're still with the paint. Alterations, because that comes under the alterations clause. I don't want them moving walls, I don't want them watching do-it-yourself TV or HGTV and coming up with, you know, if we put a cutaway in this wall, we'll be able to see right away through the whole thing. Or, you know, I've got to update my bathroom. Well, the last one was, you think I would have seen everything. But the last one was, they decided they wanted one of these humongous washer-dryer sets, which sits in the kitchen. So they took a hacksaw and cut the counters and threw the cabinet away.
Wow.
Cut the counters.
Which of course they didn't realize those cabinets are attached. So the next cabinet didn't have support. And also, guess what? The flooring was put in after the cabinets. Guess how rocky that washing machine was, with half a floor one size and half a floor a little bit deeper. So I'm just saying, again, it doesn't hurt to have it in the lease. If you never need it, you never need it. But obviously, I needed it. So now I can come after them and say, well, anything that happens inside the house. One of the things that Rent Perfect has is you can go back as soon as you've accepted that tenant and ask them, or mine's mandatory, so we're gonna get to it in a minute. They offer renter's insurance. And here's how I tell them. You can go back on your portal where you signed in, get renter's insurance, I don't know, $5 to $10. It covers everything. And if you have little kiddie pools, if you have pets, if you have kids a little outrageous, you need to have it for your protection. You have the best pet in the world, you have a little 2-year-old, poke its eye out, it's gonna defend itself. You know, I'm just saying, that's what it's all about. But the big thing is, guess whose name is on that insurance? Yours is too. They're gonna just take the money and not put it back in the house or the things, okay? So I think that's really important. It's really important that they have those things that, you know, I tell my insurance covers the floors, the ceilings, the walls. Doesn't cover little baby swimming pools or trampolines or any of that stuff. And besides which, I want them to go there first. Another thing too is, if you're not in East Toledo and they actually own cars, they actually drive those cars home, tell them to check with their renters, with their car insurance. Renter's insurance being a multiple policy on your car might drop that car insurance a lot lower than what it costs even for renter's insurance. So you might get it free plus a reduction on your car insurance. So are they pretty anxious to go check it out then? But you have to tell them. They don't know that. We know that, but they don't know that. So you need to talk to them about those things, okay? So again, all right. This was another question we had. How many people live here? How many's ever had that feeling? I know there's more people here, right? What are we talking about? So I think the important part about that is, let me see if I can find it on my list here. Too many people, yes. Again, the important thing about these things is that you can cut and paste, especially with text now. You know, I can put a note on a text, bring up the lease, snap a picture of that paragraph and send it to them. I don't have to go and confront them, knock on the door, count heads, see how many beds they got in there. Nobody wants to go through all that, but you also don't want to be responsible for people that aren't supposed to be in there. For some reason, they don't seem to be as responsible as people that are on the lease, okay? If you never know. So mine actually says $100 a person, extra. And it gets very specific. It says more than 7 days, you know, because it might be a vacation, it might be whatever. But you know what? It's free if you've got them on the lease. Why do you want them on the lease? Can anybody tell me why they need to have their names on the lease? I just tell them because to be legal, you have to have everybody on the lease. Well, the legal part is that when you go to evict, you want more than just the people on the lease, you want everybody out of there, right? So again, that's why that's important. All right, we get to the, am I over time? Are we done? He keeps saying no. Okay, this is the I didn't do one. And again, that's where we go back to either renter's insurance or their 7-day list. You know, I actually love it when they give me a list. I had one lady so particular, whether it was dust on the windowsills or the window blinds or something like that, and somebody left something in one of the drawers. So, you know, you write those things down. On the front page of the lease, I have like a contents page. So I write to-do list, because maybe, you know, I put down keys and copies usually. And then anything that they tell me needs to be done. The more particular they are, the better you look in court when they start saying this. If they're worried about dust on the window blinds, then I'm pretty sure there wasn't a hole in the wall that they didn't complain about, or the furnace didn't work, or we already had broken windows. You know, it just doesn't mesh. So again, it's just something extra that you put in there. I usually at that point go into house rules. And this is the one page that's just got like bullet points. All right. The first one is about locks. Some of these might look antiquated to you because I did them 48 years ago. Locks. Well, let's go to burglar alarms right now. Alarms. It used to be something where they had to drill every room in every house. Is that true anymore? So again, I tell them right away that, you know, you get a wireless alarm system, it's all yours. Do whatever you want, and that way you can take it with you. You just can't drill through every hole in the house and start putting wires through it. So that's good. The other thing is landlord locks. Oh, they took my keys away from me, so I can't show you, okay. I have landlord locks. Has anybody ever heard of them before? All right, you've got one key. I got one key for 80 houses. For every door in every house, in every apartment. I don't have to fuss through keys. I don't have to look for keys. I don't have to use 10 keys in the cold out front trying to figure out, oh, I thought it was this one and it's not that one. I got 2 keys. One gets into every one of my doors. The other one has a notch in it where I can put it in the lock, remove that center circle, and put another one in less than 2 seconds. I can do it in front of a tenant if the tenant's behind me and I'm standing in front of the door. So if maybe it was locked or it needed to be changed or whatever, I'm in control at all times, okay? So just let you know, and that's exactly what it's called, Landlord Locks, landlordlocks.com. It happens to be Ernie Riddle is his name, very smart businessman. So I actually went to St. Louis and took a class before I figured this one out. So they had to tell me this. But the thing is he was very smart. He moved to Indiana from being out east and placed his business in the Amish country. He never has any problem with workers. He never has any problem with polite workers, show up on time, do their job, and take care of business. I thought he was very smart on that. He did that almost 15 years ago. Because I tracked him. Where'd you go? I need you. And, you know, I just call in and say what number I want. But little side note for a dilemma, obviously I have multi-units, okay? So I was getting a new one done for every single house, every single unit. And that's what I went to St. Louis for. And Mike Butler, who's the undercover cop that has multi-units, I went all the way there to take his class just to find out 2 things. And one of them was, I was up to a nice little drawer thing with 50, I was up to 50 different locks, and I was running out of room. And he said, Anna, what's the biggest multi-unit you have? I said, 4. He said, you don't need any more than 5 locks. I go, what do you mean? He says, you need 1 for each unit, and you need one to change them in case somebody moves out before you rotate another one. And I says, well, what about, he said, nobody knows they're all the same around the city. Tenants don't know your other houses, other buildings, other tenants. And if they did, that doesn't mean even if they happen to know somebody, are they gonna put their key in their lock? And even so, it might be 1 through 5. It might not be the same. So sometimes the simplest answers, you're working it and you're working it really hard, then somebody in the audience comes up and says, no, you only need 5. So now we use the other 50 for unusual things, like if we're locking down a house and we don't want anybody in it. I don't even have to match the locks. I can just throw in whatever because I have one key that opens everything. Let me give you a little side note on that. I never change doorknobs again either. I never have to fiddle around and change doorknobs every time somebody messes up their lock, messes up their key, moves in, moves out. None of that anymore, okay? So you see how that might help you with time, energy? I think they cost the same as what the Home Depot ones. Maybe $1 or so more, but for me, the time is more than worth it. So we were gonna get into house rules. I'm not moving you at the same time I am. So the next one is, my utilities got cut off. What do I do? As a housing provider, you gonna call and get the electric and gas back on before they freeze the pipes or break the furnace? No, you got it in your lease, okay? So what's important about that, let me move this over to the other side. So again, as far as locks and it's called the red tag clause. The utilities get cut off. It very specifically says you are in charge of the cost of fixing the water heater or the furnace or whatever gets red tagged. What about those that want to turn the gas off during the summer, thinking they're going to save $1 or $2, and then all of a sudden they got spider webs and everything else in there and they can't get the gas turned back on without the gas company coming out and, testing. I don't know if you know, but they don't test at the normal rate. I mean, they really blow those lines. So I'm always very careful of never getting gas or water turned off. Those are the two that have to be tested to be put back on. So here's a couple of things that we do. And so they seem to also, I don't know if they're trying to save money or what. Let's see if we got the tests here. Here we go. So we've got them here for, there they are, the pink ones. Again, you ready to stretch your legs? All right. Thank you, guys. Andrew. So this, and you can get it offline. I know it did not print out good. I got this offline by going to DOE, Department of Energy, and I printed off what is the temperature for the summer, the normal. I mean, you go and they say the place is freezing in the winter. They say that. You walk in and you're going, what are you talking about? But they're running around in shorts, no shoes, nothing. And then they got their windows open, because you're running so much heat through there. And what does that do to your furnace to have it running constantly all the time? Because they've got it. And what do they do as soon as they think it's cold? Crank it up. It's never going to come back on again when it's that hot. I'm just telling you. So again, we have one that you can print your own, and it can go with your lease. And the other one is the summer one. How many of you have had trouble with your ACs? I'm telling you right now, it's because they run it all the time and they run it higher. And once they're used to that temperature, they jack it up higher and higher and higher. And then it freezes your coils and quit working. And they're not gonna turn it off long enough to even unfreeze it, because that's your problem. They're gonna call you right away. So again, the first thing we give them is, believe it, they're not gonna like it. It says 68 degrees. And the other one, I think, is just 72 degrees. Again, this is not you telling them, this is the government. If they don't wanna lose their furnace in the middle of the winter, and if they don't wanna knock down their AC in the middle of the summer, this is what they need to do. And, actually, I only have 2 full AC, whole house ACs left. Because I replaced one with the new green machines. Nobody used the new green ACs yet? You can't regulate them. You can't make them as cold as you want. You can't leave them run as long as you want. And the first electric bill was $300. That lady tenant asked me to take it out. And if I would pay her back that $300 energy bill, she would go buy herself 3 ACs, put them in her windows, run them however she wants to run them, and take them with her when she leaves, because they're hers. So again, see what you think, but I think we counted 9 hot days during the summer last year. So, don't get your utilities cut off. That's what's called about the red tag. This also lets you know that they can't pull out anything that they've wired and put in, which with the electronics nowadays is a pretty good thing. Is anybody getting these little sticker lights that go up and around the doors and around the ceilings and that? You try and pull those off and they take off the plaster, take off the drywall. I'm getting into that now. It drives me nuts. I'm starting to leave them. So, okay, so let's talk about good housekeeping. This is the biggest question. This is the one we get the most of. They're promising to keep it clean and sanitary. What does that mean? Let's tell them what it means, okay? Oops, too late. They already got critters. We actually specifically say do not leave food, water sitting outside or inside. If you got pets, put them in Tupperware. You cap them off. Don't leave them open, especially if you're anywhere near the woods, near the creeks, near the water. Come on now. So we actually, first thing they're gonna do is call us and say, guess what? We got pests. So we got a couple things. Number one, we're talking about pets and pests. So we're gonna hand this out for 2. And here, you wanna do this thing? Okay. So this is from Stanchion Pest Control. Number one, it actually tells you all the rules and regulations to get rid of bed bugs. This is everything your tenant has to do for them to be successful. You need this. You need this for court, because are they gonna do it? No. Maybe will they do it? If they do it, you'll probably get rid of the bed bugs. You know, they tell you to bag up all the textiles and put them in the dryer and heat it. Turn all your drawers upside down so they can come in and treat them. Put your mattresses in, I think it used to be $99. Now they're $9 at Home Depot, down in the moving section where they got the cardboard boxes and everything, $9. They tell you to wrap your mattresses or encase your mattresses. So again, I'm just saying, if they're not following this, who's gonna get sued? Your lawsuit's gonna get thrown right out, because of course they're gonna blame you. Of course they are. You're the one that stood there and did it. We're not quite on it yet, but take a look at the back side while you've got it in front of you. This is another freebie for you guys. All the big apartment houses use this. It's called petscreening.com. Doesn't cost you anything. This is mine, so do not use this, guys. This is my QR code. You don't have to give them all your properties, just give them 1 or 2, or give them to them as they come open and you want them, okay? But again, it's a funnel system where they put in their pets, and it comes down to, are they just a pet? Are they an assistance animal, trained? Or are they a comfort pet? Again, the liability is off your shoulders to decide this. You do not be the one to decide. That's boa constrictor isn't an assisted pet. It isn't a comfort pet. I'm telling you, it's not for you to say. So again, send it through the system. Let them take the liability off your shoulders for you, okay? And the bonus to them is, I think if it's an assisted or a comfort, I don't think they pay anything. And now they're registered. They can use that anywhere they go. All right? So that's the bonus from that. you push the bonus. Make sure you tell them what the bonus for them is. But remember, if you do this for one, you do this for all, okay? But we're gonna get into what they have to do with those animals in one of our things here in a minute, so. The other thing is, I'm gonna put this out, this is benefit of the city. How much construction's going on in your neighborhoods? We got new libraries, new schools, Secor Road, Douglas Road, everything is torn up, right? So the city put out what to do to get rid of rodents. They're kind of taking responsibility for having rats and that all over the place because they're digging up the sewers, right? So this is something you need to give to your tenant, then you keep a copy, date it on top and put it in the file that you gave it to them if they put in a complaint. Because now you've got paperwork. When you go to court, because they're trying to sue, because they didn't pay their rent, again, it's not he said, she said. You told them they needed to do this, and you could probably very easily take pictures that they did not do it. Boy, we're keeping you busy. There you go. And on the other side of it is how to get rid of some of your more common pest problems. Okay, some of them are natural ways to get rid of them and things like that. How to keep things going. Okay, so that's the bed bugs one. If they don't comply, they can hardly sue you. All right, don't be the good guy. Don't say you'll take care of something if you don't know you can be successful, because you'll be taking care of that from jail. All right, so be smart, be the business. Think of yourself as a brick building, not the blonde next door. Because you cannot stay with them 24 hours. You really can't. You don't know how they're using stuff. And I would not even want to take a bet on how they're using stuff. So here's another one that we have in there, because this is a lawsuit that put a landlord in jail for a long, long time. So this says, how many times did power go out? Every time we have a windstorm, every time we have an ice storm. Every time things go crazy, right? Every time the water gets too hot. So this just says kerosene heaters and appliances, and it specifically says generators. Because who's gonna put that underneath their window? Who's gonna put it in their garage? Who's gonna put it inside the house so they don't have to keep running outside to fill it or whatever? And then they pass away. So the family that passed away, all their relatives sued the landlord because he gave them a generator when they hadn't paid their bill. It wasn't even a storm. He just was a good guy. It better be on somebody's insurance, guys. And don't, just because you tell them how to use it, you're not there 24/7. Okay, the next one, you guys know, this is gonna show my age. All right, waterbed, really? Come on, I had one for 70 years.
I still have one.
Do you? I just got rid of mine and went right to a hospital bed. I don't have anything in between. Come on now, I'm pushing 80. All right, so again, why is this important? We can laugh at that, but, oops, turn the wrong page here. So look at that, I'll just bring it up on the screen for you. Really? Yeah, really. So what we're really talking about is pianos, organ beds, freezers, weight sets, things like that. Are you putting them up in apartments? Are you putting them up on second floors? You putting them in places that have basements underneath? Do you want to be responsible? No. You've told them not to do it. That is your out. If they do something crazy, and I've seen tons of weight sets, when I look at the people, you can't tell they have weight sets. But they all have weight sets. I'm just saying. So again, it's about the weight. And you want them to put it on their renter's insurance. So you got two things to fall back on. Number one, you told them they couldn't have it and they signed it. And number two, if they're hiding it in there, they probably didn't put it on their renter's insurance either. Okay? So that's the way it is. One of the biggest questions I get, other than this, because here we got freezers bigger than a car. Let's talk about cars. I get that call a lot. I got this car, I can't get in the driveway. It's a shared driveway. The next guy's yelling at me. I need to get this car out of here. What do I do? Any car that's not mobile, you don't have, maybe you have to break into it, maybe you have to, you don't have keys, you don't have title, you don't have anything, right? So, this is where it says they're not to be there to start with. And I don't know if I should tell you what I used to tell them. Are we being taped? I used to tell them, because this is what I did, push it out to the street and call the police. If there's a car blocking the street, or there's a suspicious car out front of your property. Okay, since then, which actually was just this last month on one of those set-outs, on one of the bailiffs told me to, this guy had 13 motorcycles, a three-wheeler, 2 Jeeps, 2 pickup trucks, and a car. So they said I had to have not only the dog warden there, but I had to have tow trucks there. So we were trying to extend it out. So I called them back and said, I can't get a call, I can't get a tow truck to call me back. You got called on an emergency call. They go, there ain't no way, lady. You could call any tow truck and they will all be out there because they get to keep it if it never gets claimed, if it never gets picked up. I go, really? So I had 2 tow trucks out there. But see, I didn't know the tow trucks were free. I figured it would be expensive. I thought without a title, I couldn't call. Because I was always thinking demo yards or, auto junk yards. I never thought just call a tow truck, they'd love to come and get it. So now you know also, okay? And again, this is about if they're parking it on the lawn. I just got a ticket. I got 4 tickets in the mail, all on one sheet. 2 of them were parking in the yard for me on 2002 and 1997. Okay. So I just went out my front yard and took a picture. I have a turnaround drive and 2 drives going up. There's no room to park a car except for on the driveway. So I can only assume it was leaves on the ground or whatever. They never came up, they never put a ticket on it, they just went there. The other 2 weren't mine. So at any rate, we got out of that. So I'm just saying, there's a solution for everything. All right, did any of your properties win for the tallest weeds, the most junk cars, trash not being taken out? What do you think? For an answer for that, does that just drive you nuts? Probably end up getting code enforcement. Whose name's on the code enforcement? Well, we just dealt with code enforcement. And they did decide to not put our names on the top of that anymore. So they did put it out generic so that we can hand it to our tenant or post it on the door to our tenant. They can't turn around and say, that's got your name put it on. So code enforcement is becoming a friendlier code enforcement. Okay, but I got the same answer for almost all of these problems. Go back to what your lease says. So the frequently asked question was, how do I take care of my problem? So almost any problem that they're not taking care of on the property is you post a notice. You give them to that weekend, or whatever you want, I suppose, but give them to that weekend to clean it up, or there will be somebody out there to do it. Mow the grass, clean up the trash, whatever. And who gets the bill? They do. Now I know, you're gonna ask me, how do you get them to pay the bill? Let's go back to what we learned at the beginning, okay? All fees and charges come out of their rent first, so when they don't pay the bill, rent time rolls around, so I like to kind of have these come near to the first of the month, and then it rolls around. You pay those bills first before you pay the rent, so what can you automatically do? Give them a 3-day notice, known as an extension. So now they've got time to think about it, and my guess is, at the very least, they won't be doing it again. They understand that now that there's repercussions. Same thing with requests. It all has to be brought back to money if you want them to understand it. So if you get a request to, okay, I got a teenager now, they want a purple room or a black room, or I want a ceiling fan, or I want this, that, or the other thing, don't answer them yes. Don't answer them no. What are you gonna say? I'm gonna check with the office, right? And then you're gonna come back, there's more to it than that. If this is something that you know is not gonna be done, or even if it is, you say, for a price, and how much that's gonna cost you, or change your rent. Anybody notice how that sentence ended? Who's gonna pay for it if they want extras? They are. I'm telling you, unless it was something reasonable that you're gonna do anyhow, 99% of the time, they will never bring that subject up again. They will never ask for what it is they were asking for, okay? Because they don't know it costs money. They don't even think of that. You have to put it into terms they understand. Yes, I'll get a price for that for you. We'll see if you can afford that, or if we can roll it into your rent. Okay, simple enough. These are standard things that you should be able to say all the time. And I think that rolls into what I did, yard care, yep. How do you get them to pay? We talked about that, okay. This is another one I really love. And that's my basement. Does this basement leak when they're looking at it? How many say yes? How many say no? That's just as bad as yes, okay? It doesn't matter whether it leaks or it doesn't leak. This is the most frequently asked question, number 11. Really? You're in Toledo. You're built on the Black Swamp area. And if not, you got Lake Erie pushing that way too. Does that mean you're gonna flood? Does that mean you're gonna have a mess? No, but that puts in their mind that there is no safe basement. So equally, all the houses you're looking at, we're not saying this one is or isn't. We're saying, come on, really? This is known as the Black Swamp area, and Lake Erie's right here. So you're answering the question with knowledge. So again, if they're worried about it, let them put it on their renter's insurance, and then yours is just the backup, because it does come with the floors, the ceilings, and the walls also. But again, promises not kept. All you have to do is that one thing they threw out in the drains, or the street flooded, or the electric pole came down and your pump isn't working. I'm just saying, it's always going to be your fault if you said that. So let's go to something. We talked about the flushables, okay? Is that clear enough? It's in no way void any basement. Does that mean they're gonna take the place? Maybe, maybe not. I don't want somebody in there that's gonna sue me. Okay, septic system. Very few of us have them. I've got one at the office in Michigan. Anybody else have septic systems? You do, get out a little bit? Probably not in your rental properties though, right? Oh, in Michigan? Okay, we got dual here. So these are just like bathrooms, okay? So the rules are, I don't care if it's a sewer, a septic tank, you shall not abuse the system. A lot of people use this, I don't even use the sink disposal. If they were there, they were there. If you mess them up, oh, we take them out, it's unfixable. You're done. So again, it's really important that they don't put anything down, nothing, not their tobacco butts, not anything. All right, so, and also we added that they cannot add their own garbage disposal because we figured out they had no clue what they're doing. So even if it says flushables, there's no such thing. Actually, there's ordinances coming out about that. I think, isn't it either the water company or the city of Toledo is saying no thing is flushable. There's no such thing. It's not because of what we got in the house, it's because from their stuff on, so eventually it will back up, it will back up to you. So we talked about annoying critters, and so I gave you the petscreen.com, so about the comfort animals, and we'll go there now. All right, and we're gonna get into what legal aid and fair housing says about that in a minute. My charges, and I'm sure everybody's different, I haven't changed it probably since 1970, so it's just $50 a move-in, not deposit, move in, $50 move in. That dog is not gonna be used to, or any animal is not gonna be used to that house for a while. So there will be mistakes. So it's just $50 move in and $50 a month. I used to just do one charge till I was in somebody's office and they turned around to look at the TV and hear on the news, they're taking 101. They liked that number, I'm sure it wasn't exactly. They were saying 101 pets out of this house. Guess what? I recognized that house. Do you think I called the news and told them it was mine?
Oh my God.
Of course not. So then it changed my lease. My lease is per pet. If you can afford it, go for it. I quite often have somebody that has 2 or 3 if they're the smaller pets. And you know, sometimes the senior citizens or the people that are living alone, that's their everything. That is their family, that is their alarm system. And now it's something like 78% now have pets in the home. So again, don't necessarily dilute who you're trying to get into the properties. Just make it a rule. Make it a rule that works for you and works for them. Okay, we're back to annoying critters again. So, again, pets have to follow the same rules. So you make the rules. I actually have the city rules, and it's an addendum on, you know, if you have multiple litters, if you have whatever, this is what you do. They have to be on a leash, they can't bother neighbors. There's like 12 or 14 of them. So they actually signed the bottom of that. And I can get you copies of that if you want to, just text me that that's what you want. So again, it's all about the renter's insurance. They need to be on the renter's insurance. Their pets need to be on the renter's insurance. Actually, Rent Perfect has a place that says mandatory rent insurance. So you set up your own criteria on that to let you know what you're doing. Holding over. Okay. Has anybody got a problem with somebody staying on the lease but not really doing another year, just doing month to month? I actually prefer it. Unless they specifically come and ask for that, I'm fine with that because month to month means I'm in control. I'm in control of the price. I'm in control of them going out without me having to go through any battles because I don't have to give a reason on month to month. They don't have to give a reason on month to month. They can just move. So it's not one-sided, it's equal. Even Steven for everybody, all right? So holding over is fine with me. I've had one there now, let's see, we signed a 1-year lease. She's been there for 17 years. I've got another one that's been there 13 years. Yeah, maybe it's time for me to raise that rent. Okay. Okay, right of access. This is a biggie. I can't tell you how many people call and say, my tenant won't let me in. Wait a minute. You're not even on the right page, guys.
I know.
It's not permission. You do not need permission. You just have to give notice, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? You do not need permission. Trying to see if this is it. I sent, did I send out the notice already that says notice on it? Here we go. Here's your answer. All right. Do you mind, Andrew?
Oh, okay, good.
Am I working you too hard?
No.
Okay.
I've been good exercise.
I'll buy you a drink. Okay. This is just a general notice you post on the door. You can make this up yourself. I'm just giving you a sample of mine. This is for this specific particular problem. I can change, there's one that says immediate, I have one that says immediate, and I post it on the door and leave the door open because I'm going in on an emergency. I want them to know that I'm there. I don't want them to come in and shoot me because I closed the door behind me. So I open the door, post a notice on it, and go in and do what we have to do. Because an emergency, you can go in, okay? It's your house. They're worried about, oh yeah, all my stuff. I'm trusting you with a $50, $60, $70, $100,000 house, and you're worried about the possession? Come on now, let's bring reality into it. So again, the law says you just have to give notice. So I've got, if you wish to be present, stay clear of the workroom. That was really nice for COVID. So number one, what am I really telling them? Stay away from the repair guy. Don't even be in the same room. my electrician has a thing on the back of his shirt, the price escalates phenomenally for how close you are to it. If you help me, it costs triple. So the whole point is they do not need to be watching what you're doing. Their interpretation of what you're doing. So on the other hand, I have a list for what I give my workers, that they're not allowed to put stuff on people's furniture or anything like that, you know. Can't leave your tools laying around when you go room to room, all kinds of rules like that. But this says, if you wish to be present, stay clear of the workroom. That's two things. I'm telling them, you do not need to be present. I don't care that you're not home at that time. I don't care that you only have a day off for 2 weeks. I don't care if you don't want somebody coming in the house. So does that tell you nicely? I'm not shouting all those things in. I'm saying, if you wish to be present, which means, I don't care if you're present or not. I don't get to pick and choose for a repair person, do you? Can you call up an electrician and say, be here at 10:30 on such and such a day? That would be nice, maybe if you put it out for a long time. You're lucky to get somebody there, right? And you don't even know, because they're doing a job, they don't know how long that job's gonna take before they go to the next one. I use that quite often. They're gonna be at yours next as soon as they finish the job they're on. We don't know how long that job's gonna take. And then stay clear of the workroom. Again, now you're not there over their neck trying to tell them what to do. Number two, make your home as neat, clean, and safe as possible. That means they are not allowed to walk over your laundry to get to the furnace. They're not allowed to move your furniture to get to whatever you said your problem is. That's not their job. They're not allowed to do that. And pets. What if they got pets? I heard that somewhere. What if they have dogs? Okay, pets need to be secured so they don't cause harm or get loose. So what's gonna happen when you open that door and there's a dog right there? They're gonna be on the back side of the door and they can go watch the neighborhood. I'm not gonna chase them down. But I'm telling them right up front that that's what's gonna happen. For your dog's protection, for your animal's protection. They should not be where you can't walk in the front door or where you're gonna do your work, whatever that is. So, does that help? A little bit? Something like that? Okay. Try to figure out what you haven't gotten yet here. Water department, lead. Does anybody want this stuff? Testers. Oh my gosh, we got all kinds of good stuff yet. Words you're not allowed to use. Did you need permission to enter? Everybody answer me. No, you do not need permission to enter. You just need notice. What's considered notice? There's no number on it. The day before is always nice if possible. But you know, usually if they want something done, they should be a little bit amenable about what you're gonna do. But I'm just saying, it just says reasonable notice and a reasonable time of the day. So don't expect to go in at midnight unless it's an emergency, okay? What about when stuff's left in the house? Or you don't even know if they've left and there's stuff left in the house. Would you like to have a solution to that? Nobody? We'll skip that one then. So this tells you, number one, if they haven't paid the rent. If they paid the rent, it's their stuff, not yours. If they haven't paid the rent, if you haven't been able to get a hold of them for 7 days, it's considered, and this was actually given to me by an attorney, okay? So, while it remains unpaid, you can put notices on the door, they're not answering. We can talk in private about a few of the things you can do with doors and windows. You know, if we just happen to have a complaint from the neighborhood, the kids maybe coming and going out of a window or something like that, you can go in and secure the property. Even maybe to the point of changing the locks if necessary. Maybe the lock was broken. But you better be darn sure you put a notice in every door and every window around that house that says for 24-hour notice, for 24-hour care, call immediately, we will be there. So you're putting in there that you, at their discretion, call and you'll be there. And you will all of a sudden be standing in front of the door, change your locks back, and everything's okay. Okay? But actually, if you're gonna do something like that, it's nice to make a police report. And by the way, police reports are online now. Do they come out anymore? Hey, I have 3 people now that went to 3 different police stations. You can't get in at Sylvania, they're closing that town. You can't get in at Scott Park, they're too busy, they're lined up out the door, because that's where you pay the water bill now. And they went downtown, and you can't get in downtown. So just saying, okay? So abandonment is considered when these things happen, all right? So there's the rest of it. This also is just threatens them that if they come and take stuff without, once things have changed and they've gone, they can't just come back again. Hopefully you change the locks at that point, okay? And anything that's attached to the house belongs to the house. All right, this is on the last page of my lease, the last full page. So this is something you had to put in back around COVID time, and I'll blame it on my age. I do not know all those initials, signs, and he's and she's and all that stuff. I just pretty much put in there that whether it's he, she, or it, it's everybody. Okay? So it's in there, like they said. Now we're going to get into some of the government stuff here real quick. Number 1, all my leases have this as the last page. This is the lead paint, mandatory for you to give to all tenants. How many is this the first time you've heard that? You don't want to tell. Okay. Let's hand these out. This is the first time you've heard it. Not good. Okay. Can we have you, Mr. Furley, go on the other side? So I'm giving you 2 things here. 1, this is the mandatory lead. It's very easy to fill out. 1, have you got any citations against the house? Yes or no?
Negative.
Do you have any reports to pass on to the tenant? Yes or no?
Negative.
Well, obviously, number 1's no, number 2's no. And then this is for them to initial here that they're getting copies. They're gonna get copies of everything, aren't they? That's exactly how I say it when they're filling this out. I said, we're gonna give you copies of everything, not just this page, all right? And then they sign the middle line. That's it, you're legal, you're in,
But you have to give them the book.
that can be emailed, yes,
Oh, really?
yes. I just emailed you. It's just too much to copy anymore. But yes, the booklet comes in, it's online, you can actually just tap it and send it to them, so, yes. Now, if you're doing rehab in there, there's a different book and you have to hand that to them in person. Okay, so the other side of it, how many people have asked about their water bill? It's such a treacherous thing to have to send it to the tenant after you get it. Everybody does it different, right? Everybody does it different. When I get it, because I want it, snap a picture of it, send it to them, and I'm done with it. I really don't even have to keep the copy of the water bill, because now I have it in their chain of texts. I can go look it up on my phone instantly without ever going anywhere to find it again. So again, mandatory, and if you want it to go to the tenant, what this really says from the city is it says this will be sent to the tenant, you're getting permission to do that. It doesn't really say they're sending you one too. It does say you're getting one if there's a non-payment or a problem. Personally, I want it first, so maybe too much in control, maybe, okay. So, just want to let you know about that. The other thing is we did touch on testers, but this one here is about the best practices. When legal aid was at the bailiff's symposium, we were doing it, I was there, we had a table. So I'm clicking your information to see what they're telling the other side of the story. And they're basically, it was pretty easy. It said you have to be consistent, it has to be written, and it has to be to everyone. You heard that right up front, right? With the fees, the same thing. If you're sending out criteria for one house, don't be changing it from person to person. Change it the next time. Pardon?
What if you're improving your lease?
If you're improving your lease, that's fine, just change your criteria and do it from then on. Documented time-wise, all right? Put everything in writing to ensure no miscommunication. That is so important for everything we're doing and everything we're talking about. You're saying, what are you talking about? Because if you ever have a lawsuit. He said, she said, does not work. Because who's the specialist that's supposed to know everything?
You are.
You are. And who's the one that's, poor thing is just, a mess. Doesn't know what to do, doesn't know where to go, other than stay in your house for free forever. Okay, so the other one is conduct yearly inspections. So, I mean, we have what the farmers go in, they used to go in every month, collect the rent, inspect the house. Well, that's okay maybe if you have one or two houses. And it's right in your neighborhood, they're right on her street. That's what you wanna do. Kathy does that, but those houses are right there by yours, right? Yeah, she's Mom Henry. But 80 houses, there's no way I'm gonna inspect it. And I feel like this, even if I end up having a hoarder, do I wanna go in and correct that every month? Do I even wanna correct, when they quit paying rent and I got them out, I'll rehab it. That's me, I'm in construction. Why would I have just the heartache of seeing one of my houses and it's, people live like people live. If you can't stand it anymore, it's time to give them the notice to get them out, then you can rehab it. I'm just saying. Okay, so, he said, she said, we talked about that, never works. You better have paperwork. You better kill them with paperwork if you have to go to court. And it's even not if you don't go to court, it's if they have the Section 8 attorney call you, if they have fair housing attorney call you, if they have legal aid call you. You want to show them that it's gonna be a lot of work for that freebie over there. You wanna make sure they can see amount and say, they're gonna go for the easy pickings. They're gonna go find somebody that ain't got nothing to prove what they're saying. So, did you all know Toledo has source of income? Does anybody even know what source of income is? It means you can no longer pick and choose your tenants by what kind of income they have. You can't refuse vouchers, you can't refuse Section 8, you can't refuse any of those, okay? But, let me just say, remember we talked about it earlier with the rules for Section 8? There's nothing to say, you can still send them to your people to apply. You can still have them do your application, and then they have a RAFTA or a paper that you fill out, has to go for them to approve it, has to go for them to set up an inspection, they have to show up for an inspection. I don't think I've ever passed an inspection perfectly, and I've never had them not ask me to reduce the rent. So again, you're still looking for people. This is going 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever, and so if they ask you to change a light bulb, do you have to? They ask you to change a door handle. They ask you to change a plate because it's got a little crack in it. Do you have to?
On the name of the speak on the bottom step.
Yeah, that too. So again, and then if they ask you to reduce the rent, do you have to? But all that time, have you gotten a tenant? Have you not gotten a tenant? Maybe you consider, maybe you do want that voucher. But again, you've had plenty of time to do your business and get your business done. Like I walked away because they had the peeling paint in the house next door. So, okay, let's move along quickly here. Source of income, reasonable accommodations. Okay, that's the new tester. So here's the tester stuff. And all I really did is the 2 charts. Here's the chart of applicant question and what your staff or you need to reply, how you need to reply. And the other side of it is what the staff should never do and what the staff should do. Again, right? Thank you. So the thing is with this is I think you need to know, they make a request. Let's just say they want an elevator, whatever. Do you have to put in an elevator? No. Are you gonna pay for the elevator even if you put one in? No. They pay for any modifications. Now, obviously, if they're asking for something reasonable, go for it, all right? But do not ignore it. They want you to trade ideas. They want you to come up with substitutes. They do not want you to ignore. They have now decided that if you ignore, you're not in compliance. You're not working with them. So again, take a look at these and you can figure those out for yourselves. The other thing that, otherwise they'll say you're stalling. So what can a landlord do? You can verify their information, but if it's obvious, you cannot ask what their medical problem is. You can determine how it fits in with what they need, but you don't need to dig into exactly what their medical problem is or any of their health problems. If it's not obvious, then you can ask. All right. Assisted animals, again, here's your outs. They still have to have care and supervision at all times. These animals are not supposed to be pets. They're supposed to be trained. They should not be bothering anybody. Somebody should be cleaning up after them. Those things are still the rules. So no harm, no to other tenants, no, not to disturb them, proper clean and disposal, no damage beyond normal wear and tear, and follow all the licensing rules. So the ones that are trying to skim in, do you think they're doing all those things? Probably not. But once you post those, okay? One more time. You aren't recording this, are you? Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble now. You don't mind? All right. I just wanted to tell real quick, this is fair housing advertising, words you cannot use in your advertising. Did you know such a thing existed? There's hundreds of them. You can't even use the word luxury. So this tells you, this is given to all realtors, by the way. So they're told. So these are words to avoid, words to use with caution, and then they'll give you acceptable speech down below. So take a look over those. And it's really only about your print advertising in most cases. So be careful about that, all right? The other one is, this is, not one of my houses, this is one of Scott's houses. Sorry about that, Scott. Don't look at the back of that piece.
It's about 100 animals, I already know.
No, it's not about animals. Remember back in 2016 when you had to go through and inspect every property? The city had to go through and do your lead inspection and all that. This is when the city did it, before you did. Here's just a letter you can use to do inspections on your houses. That's all. This is a letter we used. We didn't really send it as a letter. We posted it on the door. Matter of fact, the bottom part I think was red. That just lets you know that authorities will be coming through and testing your house. That just made them so that they didn't give us any hassle about it. So if that helps, I appreciate that. So go ahead. All right. You guys good enough? You want more? We're open for questions. Is there anything we didn't cover? Anything we can help you with? Other than take you to Door Street Cafe? Mr. Moody?
I do have a question.
Wait a minute.
Okay, concerning the tamper-proof.
Wait,
smoke alarm.
Jim.
There you go. Kiss
Because
it.
it's being,
Kiss it.
I do have a question regarding the tamper-proof alarms, okay, that they're starting to come out with, or the requirements. So I looked them up while we've been talking, because I'm really intrigued by this. So they have the 10-year battery one, but they're not tamper-proof. And when I'm looking at tamper-proof, what I'm finding is these cages that they put above the smoke detectors. Are you familiar with those?
I
bought the tamper-proof ones, it wasn't with a cage.
Right, but the cage would be like super inexpensive then, because you screw that over the smoke alarm.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Because offices have it so that you can't mess with the temperature.
Right, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can. The big thing is they know people are not gonna keep batteries in it. So if it's not a usable battery, or if they can't get to the battery, I think you're good. So what you want, as a contractor, I have to use a 10-year.
Right.
I have to specify, I have to keep the paper, the container that says 10-year and 10-year battery,
I talked to the.
but you don't.
I talked to the
Wait a minute.
inspectors themselves out of Florida. They have offices.
Your brother's an inspector, why did you ask him?
I did,
Here, locally. Go ahead, what's the local say?
but they said, that they can't be able to get into the battery at all.
Right.
Okay, but so if they have access to getting in, even with a cage, they take the cage off and
It's about the battery.
it's all about the battery.
Well, I understand.
But the thing is you really can't buy the old 9-volt ones anymore unless there's a few on the shelf here and there or something. So as long as you're not reinstalling the old one.
No, they have the 10-year lithium batteries, but I mean, it's not, well, regardless, whether they last or not, it says 10 years on it. But, you know, okay, I'm just trying to find some alternative besides $55 a piece.
Right now, they're $12 to $15 at Menards, and they're about $25.
Right, but those are not tamper proof.
No, but they are,
They come with a 10-year battery, so that's one.
but you can't get to the battery. What I would do is you need to show proof of intent. Keep the cardboard it comes on in your file. It shows that you were trying. If they sold you the wrong thing, they sold you the
Well,
wrong
I
thing.
know, but I want to qualify for Section 8, is now what they're looking at.
What I sent you is, what I gave you is a Section 8. That one's from Section 8. So just follow that one. I gave you the Section 8 one, not the city. The city's not quite so crazy about that. Mr. Scott. Wait for the
Mike.
microphone.
Scott, up front.
Hey guys, stand up and go to Mike.
It's a great idea.
Mike's got the mic. Go ahead.
What can be done if a tenant paints without permission if you have that clause in your lease?
Beat him up.
Then you charge them for the repaint. And usually, if it's a problem paint, it's usually more than one coat. So now you can charge them for the repaint. Unless you want to put a penalty price, but they can ruin a lot more than what your price is if they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, just put in the repaint price, or even put that in your clause that, if you break this, then you'll pay for the paint job. Which actually, I thought was one of the things we handed out. Does anybody have a chart on the back of one of their papers? A list of things that, a repair list.
Yes, the first one you gave.
What color is it? Orange. Well, that explains it, why I don't have an orange one. All right, is that the orange one? Okay, guys, one thing I want to mention, this is an Excel spreadsheet. Is anybody that doesn't know what an Excel spreadsheet is? You teach school, don't you? Okay, so an Excel spreadsheet is, just take a look at this. This is where I just put what the most common things is when you go, because when you do your second cause, you have about 28 days, and who knows what you're doing in the property. But you just need to walk through the things you need to do. Here's some prices. Do the things that don't cost. That you don't charge for paint. You don't charge for wear and tear. I would still highlight those. I usually highlight them in red, and I put a 0 there. If you don't put zeros there and they take it to court, the judge will pick some zeros for you, okay? So I'm just saying, go ahead, if you did it, put it in there. Maybe the price was less than that, so put the price that's less than that. Maybe if the price was even higher than that, some of it was wear and tear, so you might change the price. So you leave the prices in that are, and then you put the prices in that you're actually charging, and then it adds it all up. And then at the bottom, I actually have, do I have it on this one? Okay, so there's room on the bottom. I have unpaid rent. I have deposit on the top, unpaid rent, damages, because you can put first line damages and then add it over here. So you're adding your first and second together. And then you put water bill. You put anything else in there that you had to pick up, adds it all together. On this side, I say pay to. And then either you pay it to the tenant, or you pay it to you, they pay it to you. So, what do you do if they don't give you a forwarding address? No answer? The law says you don't have to do anything without an address, a forwarding address. It doesn't even kick in. It says they have to give you a forwarding address. So when does your 30 days start? Because you have to return deposit within 30 days. And that's what this is all about, is that deposit minus repairs, minus water bill, minus whatever. So this is the perfect thing to send with it for your explanation. You don't have to send receipts and all that kind of stuff. You might not have even done it yet. But again, if you got your zeros in there, you got your knockoffs for a little less price, and that's not what it costs. You send this with it. I washed the windows. You washed the windows? Oh, it says 0. you know, usually the things they object about, they know they didn't break or whatever, oh, it says 0. So I'm just saying, it adds it all up for you. It just makes it very easy. I don't know, you probably can't scan and put this in. If you send me a message, I'll send you mine. But again, you probably you wanna change these things for what they cost you. But it's so easy to just fill it in, fill the rest in with zeros, it adds it all up for you. Send one to the court system, send one to the tenant, if they give you a forwarding address. If they owe you, they'll probably never give you the forwarding address. So how do you cure not getting the forwarding address if you know the damage is gonna be higher, because they haven't paid their rent, than any deposit they gave you? How do you take care of second cause? Anybody? You file it the same, yes.
You use the address they were at, that you rented them from.
They have to be served, and it's vacant.
Matt told me when.
You can, but it doesn't,
like,
He
take
did
what
use
the
the first call.
exactly, that's the answer. When you get your first cause, when you send in your eviction, there's a line there that's for first and second cause. You do them both at the same time. You will never see them again once they're out, and you need to serve them because they did a lot of damage. So first, I think it's what, $20 more, probably nowadays, $50 more. Does that work? I mean, Dave, how long have you been chasing around? How long have you been chasing around people just to serve a second cause? How many years?
About 2 years.
2 years.
You said 2 years.
Yeah,
Can you repeat the question?
Wait a minute,
For
let
the
me have,
people online.
okay,
Anna, can you expand on that when you're talking first and second cause at the time of your eviction and what you put in the reason, you don't put any prices, you don't know your prices? Because
you
they're
don't
asking
turn
online.
this in for a month later. This doesn't get turned in, you just serve them. So when you send it to your attorney, which you have to do if the property's not in your name, the forms, including the 3-day, you don't have to use ours that we sent out there. The 3-day form, it's called some sort of detainer, and the price is right in there, so the most expensive one, okay? You go on to the clerk of courts, you go on to forms, and then they have a section that's just landlords, okay? Now, your attorney does that. I do it for my attorney because I'm spoiled and rotten, okay? But you actually need 6 documents now for going to court. You need rental registration, you need proof of ownership. Rental registration, if you don't have it done, just Google Lucas County rental registration. It comes up, it's an active form, you fill in the top, you ignore the middle section, unless you're from Michigan. Where's my Michigan people? Did we solve your problem today? Okay, so they were refused rental registration. We'll get that in just a second. So you fill out the bottom, which is just asking for your email address. If you put your email address in there, that form comes to you immediately. Now you got your form for court. Just save it, that's your rental registration. If you haven't done that, or you did it a while ago, again, go on to Aries. Aries, you print the first page, which I think is called summary page. It says print small form, and that's proof of ownership. The second one is you can go all the way over to the right, and down at the bottom, they've added rental registration. You can click on that, and it'll say yes or no if you have rental registration. Now you got the 2 newest forms that you have to turn in for evictions. And the other forms are online. One is your lease, your 3-day, and then you can get the form right from the clerk of courts, and then there's a landlord pack. And that just gives how to get into the property and who to contact to get into the property. So I do all that, because usually I've let it go so long that I'm in emergency mode. When I send it to Matt's office, Matt Weisenberger, one of our eviction attorneys and collection attorneys, I send the whole pack and tell his office, give me a date right away. So, again, so let's go back to yours. How did you get rental registry? They turned you down because you're Michigan, right? So, she came and talked to us, and we came up with a couple solutions. You can talk to your attorney and use his address. You definitely don't want to use your property, rental property address, because you want your tenant in charge of any yours. Or you can get yourself a P.O. box just over the line into Ohio. Cause you're just over the line. You can call your city council member and they can override. Or I guess I'm an agent, you can call me and we use the reappeal box.
Crawfords, what do you guys use for your rental registrations?
We use a relative.
Oh, okay, so
I
you
don't know
guys.
the line. So, yeah, we had that question here and hopefully we took care of that for you. Did we take care of any of your problems, any of your answers? Oh, no, Mr. Lemaitre.
The question is, I've got an eviction, it's been 2 years now, that they've been out. And how do I collect?
Matt Weisenberger is a collection
Right.
agency.
Oh, is it? But, okay, I didn't know
But
Matt,
here-
that was my attorney
He does.
for it.
But how you get collection is by picking a good tenant to start with, by using a screening process.
It wasn't available to
I
me
know.
at that time.
Sometime, I'm just saying, he will tell you your first defense, obviously.
I use Right Perfect now.
He's doing this. So Matt, at least, I'm hoping I'm not telling on the attorney, but I'm sure it's not just me, but he has very good terms, I think. I have no way do I have time to chase somebody around, find out, but he knows whether he can take their income tax, he can take their car, he can, if they ever try to
can
get a
find them.
house. So he has a collection, so the deal is, if you've been to court, and you've got the court papers,
Yes.
you can turn the eviction over to him, and whether he garnishes wages or whatever, that when and if he collects, which usually takes a while, because they have to get up and, the tenant has to get up.
$6,500 is
Yeah.
worth collecting.
Yeah, right, so I've got ones now that just started that finally got a job from 3 years ago. So if you go into court, you got the court papers, he collects 1/3. So whatever he collects, 1/3 his, the rest is yours. So you get these little checks, because if it's garnished, they get 1/4 of their monthly rent. So, if you haven't been to court, and he has to take it to court for you, go get the paperwork done or whatever, it doesn't mean you have to do an eviction, he just has to get court papers, then he takes half.
Yep,
Is
that's
that
all
fair
done.
enough? Do you guys
Thank you.
do you guys have time to chase down deadbeats? But, he's coming, Kathy.
I have one thought. I have in my lease that if any tenant has a problem and I have to hire an attorney, they pay for all legal fees.
Okay, that's true, but I'll tell you right now, legal aid will throw that out.
Yeah, that's a man.
I'm just saying, we just found that out, just recently. But it doesn't matter because you're not taking most of them to court. You're just letting them know, you're trying to stop the ones that are just doing stupid, peripheral, go out and sue you just because they don't have their money. If they're coming out and they find out that, that's in the lease, might keep them from making that phone call. And the same thing, they get now $500 worth of legal aid and, for free, because of your court costs you're paying, I'm just saying, even they don't want to go very deep, so if for some reason there's a lot involved, your trust, or whatever, is in the lease, they're tempted not to take the case too, right? Because you're covered, you got paperwork, you aren't flying by the seat of your pants. Can I please repeat that those in here, raise your hands again, that are in the fill in the gaps class right now? Okay, you get free bus tour. Bus tour is this Saturday, right after our Friday breakfast. So this Saturday, we're actually doing ones in the progress of rehab right now, right? We're getting your place, we're getting Eric's place. All right, and we're getting one that one of the students did. All right, so we'll also be doing ones that are for sale. So we got what, six or eight of them in last time. So the bus tour, you're telling me you want a discount? Is that what you're telling me? You're beating me up. All right, Rhea will pay the first $30. Fair enough? Just to cover the gas. So if you sign up for this,
If you sign up tonight.
you
is that
sign up,
correct?
yeah, because we have to get the caravan together. We do, we have to get all that together. So if you sign up tonight, or tentatively sign up tonight, we'll go ahead and drop that $30 for you. That way we can pay for gas and and all the paperwork you're gonna get, because you get all these documents with it too. Which, do you know nowadays, to go into a house for sale, you have to sign a buyer's agreement with the realtor? Do you know that? New law, all across the country. So we will show you how to fill one out, so you're only committed for that day or for that house. We'll show you the forms, we'll give you the forms, so that you know what to look for. But yes, a realtor can no longer just open the doors and let people in houses. They can no longer unlock and let you in. They can no longer share information with you if they're representing the seller. Because they're the fiduciary of the seller. Okay? Any questions? Any follow-up questions? You know my number. Okay? All right, well, we're all going to Dork Street Cafe, guys. Join us.